What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and welcome to another Attack on Titan video. In this video, we will be talking about the 9th and final Titan shifter, the Warhammer Titan, the only Titan shifter that we still haven't seen. Even though we first learned about the Warhammer Titan back in chapter 95, as of chapter 100 we still haven't seen this shifter appear in the manga, and in this video I will be discussing some theories about why we still haven't seen the Warhammer Titan and whether we've actually been lied to this entire time about who the Warhammer Titan truly is. By the way, if you're wondering where my Attack on Titan chapter 100 review is, it was taken down due to a false copyright claim from Kodansha, Japan. I am fighting this false claim right now, and I hope the video will be back up soon. There is no way that Kodansha or any other company owns my thoughts and my commentary on a chapter of a manga. Thank you all for the support you've shown for the chapter reviews. I didn't realize how much you guys enjoyed them each month until this video was taken down and so many of you voiced your support. Thank you all, it really means a lot to me, and if you could please do me a favor, follow us on Twitter at Anime Uproar in case something like this ever happens again, because that is the best way for us to inform you on what's going on. We are now also posting on Instagram daily, so if you prefer to use Instagram, you can follow us there as well at Anime Uproar. Both links will be right there in the description. As always, this video will contain Attack on Titan manga spoilers up to the latest chapters, so proceed with caution. As of right now, we have been told that the possessor of the Warhammer Titan is the head of the Tybur royal family, Willy Tybur. It is worth noting that the chapter where we are first told this information by Zeke is chapter 95, and the title of this chapter is Usotsuki, or Liar. Remember that for later. The reason I am making this video is largely because of what happened at the end of chapter 100 of the manga, as Willy Tybur is holding a big speech at the festival in the Liberio internment zone and talking about uniting the whole world against their common enemy Eren and the Eldians on Paradise Island. And as he declares war on Eren and his comrades, Eren transforms into a Titan, bursts out from the building right above the stage and literally rips Willy Tybur in half in front of everyone. This was a major shocker, and there are a few options for what could happen next. Let's say that Willy simply sacrificed himself for his cause and Eren really killed him. We know that Willy knew that Eren's attack was coming, but maybe he still decided to hold the speech because he knew that if Eren kills him in front of everyone, then the entire world would start hating Eren and everyone would want to unite against the Eldians of Paradise. But if Willy really is dead, if he cannot somehow use the Warhammer Titan power to recover from being literally torn in half, then we have to ask ourselves an important question. Would Willy Tybur really risk losing the Warhammer Titan power, or even have Eren consume his spinal fluid and take the Warhammer Titan power from him just to get the world to hate Eren? If Willy really did this, it would not be a very smart move. Let's remember that the Eldians of Paradise already hold the Founding Titan, the Attack Titan, and the Colossus Titan powers, and the female Titan is currently out of commission. Would the Tyburs really risk losing the Warhammer Titan to Eren as well? I find this highly unlikely. I find it much more likely that if Willy Tybur is really dead, then he was never the Warhammer Titan in the first place. The final Titan shifter must be someone else entirely, someone who is still hiding in the shadows. And if this was the case, then it would make sense why we haven't seen Willy transform into the Warhammer Titan yet, and if this was the case, then it would also make sense for Willy to sacrifice himself. If Willy doesn't have the Warhammer Titan power, then his death isn't nearly as much of a loss for the Tyburs as it would be if they just handed another Titan shifter to the enemy. This is the point where we need to remember that chapter 95 is called Liar. This is the chapter in which we first learn that the Tybur family possesses the Warhammer Titan, but what if Zeke, the one who told us this information, was the liar here? What if Zeke lied about Willy possessing the Warhammer Titan in order to facilitate the plan for Willy to publicly sacrifice himself and unite the world against Eren and the Eldians on Paradise? And if Willy Tybur was not the Warhammer Titan, the final Titan shifter, the big question is, who and where is the Warhammer Titan? Does another member of the Tybur family possess the Warhammer Titan, but their identity is being kept secret to prevent someone from trying to steal the final Titan shifter's power away from the Tyburs? Or did the Tybur family lose the Warhammer Titan at some point in the past? Did someone steal it from them like the owl Eren Kruger stole the Attack Titan? This would mean that the Tyburs have been lying about possessing the Warhammer Titan in order to keep their power and influence over Marley, even though they actually lost it sometime in the past. There is one thing that has always bothered me, and it's this. Why did Marley decide to send Annie, Reiner, Marcel, and Bertolt to Paradise and order them to breach the walls even though the Tyburs knew about the king's vow of pacifism? Meaning that the Tyburs knew that the king behind the walls was not a threat to Marley and would not become a threat in the future. Why would they send 4 Titan shifters behind the walls and risk losing these 4 incredibly important assets if there was no threat to speak of? However, if the Tyburs did in fact lose the Warhammer Titan power at some point in the past and they were trying to keep this fact hidden, then that would explain why the Tybur family wanted to take the founding Titan even though they knew that the king inside the walls was not a threat. The Tyburs would have known that sooner or later someone would find out that they lost the Warhammer Titan, and before that happened they wanted to get their hands on the founding Titan. And that's because they would want to preserve their position as the secret rulers of Marley. If the truth came out that the Tyburs did not have the Warhammer Titan, then why would Marley continue to accept the authority of the Tyburs? In my video on the secret power of the Warhammer Titan, I argued that the reason why the Tybur family was allowed to live freely in Marley despite being Eldians was because Marley was afraid of the power of the Warhammer Titan. In fact, we later learned that the Tybur family is secretly ruling Marley from behind the scenes, which would again suggest that the Warhammer Titan's power was massive enough to convince the Marleyan officials that it was better to accept the authority of the Tyburs than face the wrath of the Warhammer Titan. If you want to learn more about my theory about the secret power of the Warhammer Titan and how this shifter could be so powerful that the army of Marley would be afraid of it, feel free to check out the full video, link in the description. But if Marley only tolerated the authority of the Tybur family because the terrible power of the Warhammer Titan kept them in check, if it was suddenly revealed that the Tyburs didn't have the Warhammer Titan power anymore, that would probably be the end of the Tybur family. They would be treated just like any other Eldians in Marley, or perhaps even worse, they might be killed so that they could never pose a threat to Marley again. In this case, it would make perfect sense for the Tyburs to risk everything in order to get their hands on the founding Titan. With the coordinate in their possession, the Tyburs could still remain dominant and they could still keep the army of Marley in check even without the Warhammer Titan. If this theory is true and the Tyburs no longer possess the Warhammer Titan power, and that is why they were so desperate to get their hands on the founding Titan, then the question becomes, where is the Warhammer Titan now? Does another Eldian on the continent secretly possess this power, perhaps a member of the Eldian Restorationists? Or has the Warhammer Titan power been smuggled onto the island of Paradise, just like the Attack Titan was taken to the island by Eren Kruger? Could the true Warhammer Titan be someone we already know, but we just don't realize it yet? If this is the case, then Isayama has fooled us all yet again, and we are in for another massive twist in the story very soon. Perhaps as soon as chapter 101. Nevertheless, this is just a theory at this point, and there are other possibilities for what could happen next that also need to be mentioned. In the case that Willy wasn't lying and he really does have the Warhammer Titan power, then either he could somehow use it to regenerate his body and survive, although his body was drastically damaged by Eren, so this might be a bit of a stretch. But in that case, we will finally see the Warhammer Titan in action as Willy faces off against Eren's Attack Titan in an epic showdown inside Liberio. Or perhaps Eren will consume Willy's spinal fluid and take the Warhammer Titan power for himself. This would mean that Eren would have 3 Titan powers in one body. The Attack Titan, the Founding Titan, and the Warhammer Titan, and that would make him a nearly unstoppable force. We still don't know what the power of the Warhammer Titan is, but I'm willing to bet that it will be very unique and very powerful. Definitely powerful enough to convince the entire Marley military that it would be better not to mess with the Tyburs. Lastly, there is one more option for what could happen next in the Attack on Titan manga. As I said before, in chapter 95, Zeke was the one who told us about the Warhammer Titan, and throughout these last few chapters we have gotten brief glimpses of Zeke that make me think that he is definitely up to something. The fact that he seemed to encourage Reiner to go and meet secretly with Eren, and the fact that he was not led into the same trap as Peak and Porco seemed to hint that he may have a secret plan. What if the comrade that Eren was sending letters to with Falco's help was not anyone from Paradis? What if it was Zeke? Zeke had promised to return to Paradis and save his half-brother Eren earlier on in the manga, so did the two of them meet at some point during the time skip and come up with a plan to end the suffering of all Eldians? And was Willy Tybur a part of this plan, or was he a victim of it? When I was looking at how Willy was portraying Eren during his speech at the festival as this terrible evil villain and a threat to the entire world that everyone must unite against, I couldn't help but think of the Zero Requiem in Code Geass. I mentioned this in my initial review of the chapter, but Willy was trying to focus the world's hatred on Eren, and he wanted the world to unite against him, and this includes those Eldians who are in Marley. And it was almost as if the end goal was that when Eren, this supposedly evil villain, is killed, then everyone can rejoice and live together in peace. If this theory is on the right track and we are looking at a Zero Requiem type of scenario, then we might be looking at Eren either dying or faking his own death in the near future in order to create a new world. A world where Eldians and everyone else can live in peace after the so-called evil Eldians like Eren have been eliminated. Now this might sound corny, but I personally am a sucker for happy endings, and I really don't want to see characters like Eren, Mikasa, Armin, or Levi die. Sasha either, I love Sasha. So I am still hoping for some sort of happy ending where a cure for Ymir's curse is found and they all survive. But we know that Attack on Titan is a mature and sad story where many important characters have already died. And in the past, Isayama also hinted at a tragic ending, so I fear we may be heading in that direction. At any rate, let me know what you guys think. Did Willy Tybur fool us all, and is the Warhammer Titan still out there somewhere? Does another member of the Tybur family have it, or was it stolen from the Tybur family at some point in the past? If Willy really does have the Warhammer Titan power, is he going to somehow save himself by transforming, or is Eren going to consume his spinal fluid and take the Warhammer Titan power for himself? Finally, what do you think is happening with Zeke? Are Zeke and Eren working together on a secret plan that is about to come together? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. A big thank you to @ThisUserIsAlive for allowing me to use his awesome fan art of Willy Tybur in the thumbnail. Feel free to check out his Instagram @ThisUserIsAlive, link in the description. Also remember to follow us @AnimeUproar on Twitter and on Instagram. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like to let me know. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for all the support, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.